What's up, everyone? Andrew here with Astro Trends, bringing you another GameStop update. If you're new to the channel, what we do here is we combine astrological forecasting with traditional trend analysis to speculate on price movements in crypto and stock markets. So let's dive into GameStop's chart here. We've been tracking its price since back here, looking for the bottom to come in for some upward movement over here. We dropped this vertical in last video as a target for significant upward price movement. We're expecting to see something like a cup and handle pattern form here, and we were looking to touch these trend lines for support before making our upward move here. Last week we fell below this trend line and then bounced up. We talked about the likelihood that we make a touch on this bottom trend line. That would be all the better foundation for our next pump here, coming over the next week and a half. So everything is playing out really nicely here. We did start to move back up. We thought we might not come down and test this line. We didn't quite touch it, but I think that's the lowest we'll see at this point. And what we did do is we formed a nice double bottom here, similarly to the way we did back here at the bottom of this kind of bowl-shaped formation we formed. So I'm expecting a smaller, the handle and the cup to be a kind of reiteration of this price action back here, playing out right here. So we did come down and almost test this line. I think pretty much good enough. And also you'll see we got a big volume spike as soon as we approach that lower trend line. So you know the community is still there. The apes are still aping in. We'll probably adjust this line to play a little nicer with the action we just saw back here. Let's see, this isn't quite on the wick. Yeah, so just not the most accurate line that I had there before, but adjusting back here, you see that traders were just waiting for a test to this lower trend line before that upward movement, and the volume is there to confirm the bounce. So the next thing we're looking for confirmation on the chart is we want to push above these moving averages, the 9, then the 20, as well as the 50 period moving average. Back here, when we formed this double bottom, we hit here and here. It was within a week of hitting this bottom. We pushed above and just rode those averages up. This is a smaller, or this over here is a smaller formation than this cup here, so I'm expecting to see us pushing above the moving averages in the next couple of days here, probably by the end of week. And by the end of next week, I think we'll start to see the pump coming in. But let's take a look at the astrology, just rehash some of that. Okay, so taking a look at the chart for Monday, June 28th, we had the moon transit over the sun and Venus today, co-present with Jupiter here, which is good for price action. We did have a little bit of a pump in the morning that subsided, but we did ultimately end the day green, which was nice. We have the sun passing a conjunction over Jupiter, Venus over here opposing Mercury, which is good news. I haven't seen a whole lot of news about GameStop, but I think people are generally feeling pretty bullish on it. Everybody that's following the meme stocks, AMC and the others are pretty excited about GameStop making another big move up here in the short term. Jupiter retrograde now is passing back over Venus. Retrograde action can be counter to the typical signification of a planet, but in this case I think we're going to see a kind of revisiting of earlier pumps we got in this year when Jupiter passed over Venus the first time. That's the price action I'm going to be looking out for. If it was having some kind of counter signification, I think we would already see it playing out in the price. But keeping an eye on that, I think this is ultimately a bullish scenario here. We got Saturn over Neptune, and Mars opposing Neptune. and that opposition is separating now. We got Mars at 10 degrees, Neptune at 9. Didn't see much play out there. Didn't have much effect on price action. It could just be signifying the dip here, kind of signifying the bottom of the dip in the area of the double bottom, because it is ultimately we would expect a negative price action from this type of transit. But looking ahead, we have Venus approaching this Sun-Venus conjunction here, out of sign conjunction, but the Sun-Venus midpoint is always an important point for bullish activity. So that'll be nice in a couple of weeks when Venus makes its way to the end of Leo here. We also have the Sun moving into an opposition with Mercury. And we have the new moon coming up. This is July 9th. It is going to be square Mars, so that is a day that we're going to want to mark down. And let's make this one red. Normally we may be concerned about a new moon square to Mars, because Mars is a malefic. There are scenarios where it can be good for price action, but in most cases it's volatile and can lead to breakdowns, that sort of thing. So it's going to be 18 degree. Yeah, it's going to be pretty tight. It's going to be within a degree. But often new moons can be pretty bullish. So, and it is also just a day, 2 days before the target that we laid down previously. As we have Mercury approaching a conjunction to Jupiter here, and Venus closing in on this opposition just days after the new moon. So it's a highly energetic time approaching. Jupiter will have passed over Venus by this time. So with all of the positive significations coupled with the high intensity of a new moon, it's not a new moon eclipse, but it is a new moon. I think we really may see some powerful upward movement here. Maybe some volatility in the moves. If you look back here at previous pumps, when the price really starts going crazy, when you get a literal mooning phenomenon, you can get a pump up to, let's see, from 71 up to 213 in a single day, and then ending the day back at 133, and then within 4 more days you're up at 374, back to 306, then up to 484 just 2 days later, and then back down in the low 200s, and then back up to the 400. So if we do see a pump that rivals the previous all-time high back there in January, that may explain some of this this perhaps negative or highly volatile new moon arrangement, square Mars, in the midst of all these positive significations. I think we may see a really big pump and then a pullback, retracement, and then another pump, something like that. But we'll keep an eye on these days as they approach, and we'll be looking out for the price getting above these moving averages to start pushing it up to something like what we see back here, or back here when the price suddenly jumps above the moving averages, comes back down, then gets pushed up again, and then just moons, goes crazy. So keep a lookout for those. If you enjoyed this video, give a like and subscribe. Not financial advice, as always, but keep an eye out for those updates.